Words matter, as we were all reminded this week by New Mexico's own and U.S. Interior Secretary Deb Haaland. She announced plans to remove the derogatory word squaw from all public lands, which could affect more than 650 locations, guys. That includes lakes, creeks, valleys, a lot more. Ms. Haaland also says she is committed to identifying other culturally insensitive names, much as the Interior Department did back in the 60s and 70s with words that were derogatory to African and Japanese American communities back then. And Kathy, Ms. Haaland is certainly bringing her Native American voice to the national stage, isn't she?
Absolutely, as well she should be. This was rolled out during Native American History Month, and I think quite appropriately so. Although there, lots of schools have thought about whether or not the word is derogatory. What I want to say is that I don't get to decide that. The people who are, Native American get to decide it. Deb Haaland is the Secretary of the Interior, and for the very first time, there's someone who is Native American who is in charge of it. So it makes perfect sense that she would say, on my watch, this is going to get changed. So I say, go do it.
Sophie, we learned that the city of Las Cruces considering changing names of Squaw Mountain Drive. Is there any reason not to make these name changes wherever we can?
Well, I suppose someone may argue that they have letterhead with the name of the street on it. I have boxes here. What am I going to do? But
I remember that. I remember that when we flipped to MLK Avenue years ago.
Not a good reason. That's not a good reason.
It was about letterhead.
And Jean, I myself look forward to the day that the panelists on this show don't want to say the word. Just as we would not say other words. I think this has been a real eye-opener for a lot of people, that this movement. And I'll also point out that this didn't come out of nowhere, that when she was a representative, Deb Haaland put forward legislation to accomplish something similar with a broader number of locations through the federal government. And that legislation has been reintroduced. And so, I think that there's a really lovely concerted push on this issue. And she's the right person in the right place at the right time.
Dan, when you think about it, there's also a bit of momentum on this. There's been states from Maine to Oregon who have removed the word squaw over the past few years. And I'll remind folks, Lake Tahoe, they dropped Squaw Valley. I mean, everybody knew where Squaw Valley was. You don't even think about the word. It's so familiar, and so again, the public seems to want this as well. Is there anything wrong here with removing these names as far as?
There's nothing wrong with removing them, but I think we're having I think you're kind of having two different conversations, right? When you say the public wants to have these things removed, I think the word squaw, and it's interesting, I have a friend of mine, Native American, was a tribal leader. This came up just the other day, and he was like, I'm confused because in our language, squaw means wife or woman. He says you can use it in a negative context. There's no doubt about that. But his comments to me, which is exactly the way I felt, was, there's a lot of problems out there right now. And, going after things like that today, there just seems to be a lot more lower hanging fruit.
But isn't that, can't you say that about anything, Dan?
No, not at all.
There's better things to do syndrome. She is the Department of Interior Secretary. This is right under her purview. It's not like she's reaching across the hall to do something.
You think so? With all the stuff going on with our energy crisis and drilling and getting access to public lands, all stuff that falls under her purview, this is something that we're going to celebrate, right? We're paying the highest gas prices we've been paying in the last.
Doesn't matter, Dan.
To what extent, though, do the community leaders who will serve and the individuals who are running nonprofits, who are involved in advocacy, to what extent is that community, that group of people, going to solve an energy crisis? This is a different group of people focused on a different issue. It's not, we're going to take our oil and gas experts and put them on this issue. They keep doing their oil and gas stuff.
Nobody's claiming that.
It's also not an either or, it's a both and. It's time to do it. It's time to do it.
Gene said she's the secretary of the department, and that's what my response to Gene was. He was like, "Oh, you're saying I think there's lots of words out there that have been used that have a totally negative connotation, and changes need to happen. Look, it doesn't matter to me whether they change the word or not. change all the words they want to change. I just think this is another example of virtue signaling. We're going to address something, we're going to try to get our kudos out there, and at the end of the day, it's going to make little to no difference. And it's instead of taking on the real issues. Look, I'd like to ask, I would ask the secretary, well, we're celebrating during Native American Month, taking the word squaw for the negative connotation, but all the time she was in Congress and now as the secretary, we've got a problem with missing indigenous women.
Which she's also a major
advocate. That's the first thing she went after.
She's the first person in that position.
It was the first
thing. Made movement on it.
You gotta wake up and pay attention. Saying you're for something doesn't mean you're actually making a difference in it. And so,
all right, we need to move on. Hang on a quick sec. Sophie, should this approach be an example to other difficult conversations and discussions, like the statue and monolith controversies we've seen here in Albuquerque and Santa Fe? Does this conversation inform those conversations or vice versa? How should we approach this?
I think it can. I mean, I think it can, and especially as we look at other, certainly in terms of language, but it certainly could in terms of other matters. What I think is really interesting about this particular situation, to use the example from Lake Tahoe for the ski basin, which, by the way, I did not actually know that's where it was, community activists for years in the Lake Tahoe region have tried to get that name changed.
That's right.
And they've received nothing, stonewall from the community, from government. And now that they have a real opportunity to make an impact, and a partnership is being formed, partnerships, I should say, are being formed so that these decisions can move forward more quickly, more efficiently.
Yeah. Kathy,
and with real feedback,
again,
real input.
It's interesting. I hear Dan's point and others making the origin of the Algonquin word squaw, what meant woman or wife, but no one wants to seem to acknowledge that you can take a word and change it into something else quite easily, and use it as a hammer. I'm
going to use the word spade. Right? It became associated with Black people. And so when you say, I'm going to call a spade, and I'm sitting in the room, I'm going to say, you know what, you need to get some education. So the actual word didn't start out meaning that, but the now connotation of it, when you say it, means something else.
That's right.
That's exactly what's happened here. It's not an either or, it's a both and. There's nothing wrong with doing it. And if not now, when? And if not Deb Haaland, who?
Well, that's a good point. Is she doing her job? That's always the question. And Dan, let me bounce back to you. I hear your points about there's other things to do at Interior, but let's stick to the knitting here. Is it not moving the public consciousness forward by removing these names? Just as simple as that.
I don't know what you're trying to get me to answer. The word has I'm not the guy to ask. It has no negative connotation to me. If it affects people and they want it removed, I got no problem with it. I'm not protesting that she shouldn't be changing the name. It doesn't affect me. So I can't give you an opinion that says you should or shouldn't change that word. You specifically asked me, as my comment was, I just think there's bigger things that I think many people think that we should be focusing on. And that blew up into the whole, that I'm missing the point here. I don't think I'm missing the point. I think to Sophie's comments earlier that it's definitely
Daniel. She has a staff of over a couple of hundred.
Hey, listen,
they can handle more than one issue at a time at the Department of Interior.
We are talking about this issue, Gene. You can change the topic. You're the one, this group, this TV show brought this topic up. You asked me what I thought about it. Do I think she's got the entire Department of Interior working on this? No, Gene, I don't. I don't think that. Listen, if you want to run her campaign and defend her, you do it. I just think she's not doing the right job that she needs to be doing. Do I have a problem with the word squaw? It doesn't affect me. I get it. It's not something that I should.
It doesn't affect you.
That's what I said.
It's not about you.
I didn't say it was about me. But right now, I'm the one on the show talking, so it is about me. It's my opinion that they're asking about. I know you don't like my opinion, but it is my opinion.
All right, Dan, I got to wrap here.
That's the opinion I'm giving on the show.
Appreciate it. You can learn more about this issue and the importance of place names on our website. In an Our Land episode Laura Paskus did with then Representative Haaland early this year,